Yellowstone National Park is famous for its geysers, bison, wolves, bears, elk, and other wildlife. Its sheer size and wild beauty have drawn over 4 million visitors each year since it opened in 1872. That makes it the second most visited national park after Great Smoky Mountains. But Yellowstone is also hiding a secret that could change the world if it erupted. We don't mean one of those small geysers. We're talking about the supervolcano hidden under Yellowstone. Most people know that Yellowstone is sitting atop a supervolcano, but they might not realize how dangerous this is. Some scientists believe that a mega eruption at Yellowstone could be much more catastrophic than the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. In this video, we will explore what would happen if Yellowstone blew up again. What's really so dangerous about the volcano, and what we can do to protect ourselves from its wrath. Let's get started. What makes Yellowstone so special? As we mentioned earlier, the area has been popular with tourists ever since it was first opened to the public. However, it wasn't until 1988 that a wildfire swept through the area and killed 86 people. After this event, experts realized just how vulnerable this beautiful place is to natural disasters. And while fires are still a problem in Yellowstone, another threat looms even larger: the supervolcano. Yellowstone National Park is home to over 3,000 thermal features, including nearly half of the world's geysers. These are mostly harmless hot springs that bubble away harmlessly in their own little corner of the park. However, there are also some dangerous pools of boiling water here too. The heat comes from magma deep below the surface. Magma is molten rock found beneath the Earth's crust. It's created when rocks are heated by the Earth's core and become so hot that they melt. When this happens, gases and other materials are released, and this creates bubbles in the molten rock, which is why it's often referred to as lava. If this magma breaks through the crust, it's called lava. Lava flows from volcanoes. Yellowstone sits on top of the North American plate boundary where the Pacific and North American plates meet. This means that it is constantly exposed to seismic activity, such as earthquakes. Every year, there are about 1,000 earthquakes around Yellowstone, but most are so small that we cannot feel them. Occasionally, though, the stress builds up enough to cause an earthquake that we can actually detect. For example, on March 12, 1985, a magnitude 7.3 earthquake struck near Yellowstone, causing millions of dollars worth of damage. It was felt as far away as Utah and South Dakota. In fact, between 1985 and 2009, there were 20 earthquakes above magnitude 6.0. So although these events are rare, they do happen. The reason why all this seismic activity occurs is because of what lies beneath Yellowstone. Beneath the park is a massive plume of magma known as a magma chamber. A magma chamber is simply a large underground pool of molten rock. There are many different types of magma chambers, and they come in all shapes and sizes. Some are only a few miles across, while others can be hundreds of miles wide. Most magma chambers form when tectonic plates collide. As the plates push together, the pressure and heat increase until the rocks melt and form magma. The magma then collects in a chamber before being released through vents in the Earth's crust. In the case of Yellowstone, the magma chamber is thought to be about 43 miles wide and 62 miles long. That's roughly the size of Manhattan Island in New York City. The chamber extends down about 30 miles into the Earth's crust. It contains an estimated 10 trillion gallons of magma, enough to fill up 4 billion Olympic-sized swimming pools. So that should give you a sense of just how much magma is down there. So now, let's talk about what would happen if Yellowstone erupted. You might think of Mount St. Helens, which blew its top in 1980 and devastated the surrounding area. But compared to Yellowstone, that was just a small fry. The St. Helens eruption released about 12 cubic miles of ash and pumice, while Yellowstone's last major eruption in the Pleistocene epoch released more than 2,400 cubic miles of ash. So how big is that exactly? To put it into perspective, Mount St. Helens' eruption added about 1 inch of ash to parts of Washington, Idaho, and Montana. In contrast, Yellowstone's mega eruption would add anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of ash to 250,000 square miles in the western U.S. That's the size of Pennsylvania and Ohio combined. But that's not all. Yellowstone's supervolcano is so powerful that it could trigger earthquakes around the world. The energy released by the explosion would be so great that it would shake the Earth's crust as far away as Europe and Asia. And it wouldn't just be buildings and other structures that suffered. Damage caused by the tremors could lead to landslides, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, and other natural disasters. And unlike Mount St. Helens, which had only a limited impact on the environment due to its location in a remote forested area, Yellowstone's eruption would have global consequences. Ash would blanket farmland, blocking out the sun and causing widespread crop failure. The climate would cool as sulfur dioxide and other gases blocked sunlight from reaching the Earth's surface. Global temperatures could drop by 6 degrees Celsius or 11 degrees Fahrenheit, leading to widespread crop failure and starvation. However, the immediate effects of the eruption would be felt most strongly in the western United States. Pyroclastic flows, which are fast-moving currents of hot gas and solid matter that move away from the volcano at high speeds, would race down the slopes of the supervolcano, incinerating everything in their path. They would reach temperatures of up to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit and travel up to 100 miles per hour. Areas around the volcano would also be hit by heavy showers of volcanic bombs, which are large pieces of solid matter ejected during an eruption. These bombs can be as small as a house or as large as a mountain. So what would Yellowstone look like after the dust settled? The landscape would be completely changed. The eruption would leave behind a massive caldera, which is a large crater formed by the collapse of a volcano. The caldera would be filled with ash and debris and would be surrounded by layers of ash and pumice. The entire region would be covered in a thick layer of ash, making it difficult for anything to grow. The air would be filled with poisonous gases, making it hard to breathe, and the ground would be too hot to walk on. Yellowstone would effectively be destroyed, and it would take many years, if not centuries, for anything to grow back. This is obviously a very dire scenario, so what are the chances of it happening anytime soon? Well, according to experts at the United States Geological Survey, or USGS, we have nothing to worry about, at least not yet. They say that there is a 1 in 730,000 chance of a major eruption at Yellowstone every year. However, they also point out that this risk is relatively low, and that we have no reason to believe that something is brewing beneath the surface. Nevertheless, they are still monitoring the situation closely. In fact, the USGS has been studying Yellowstone since 1985, when it began the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory. This is a cooperative effort between the USGS, the University of Utah, and Montana State University. The observatory collects data about the volcano, including seismic activity, ground deformation, and gas emissions. They also monitor any changes in the behavior of the hot springs and geysers in the park. In addition to these monitoring efforts, the USGS has developed an early warning system for Yellowstone. This system would give people a few hours' notice of an impending eruption, which would allow them to evacuate the area. However, this system is not perfect, and it would only work if people actually took the threat seriously. In the past, there have been a number of false alarms and evacuations due to possible volcanic activity. For example, in August 2004, thousands of people had to leave their homes near the volcano after a series of earthquakes and increased gas emissions raised concerns about a possible eruption. It turned out to be a false alarm, but it still cost the local economy millions of dollars. If you want to learn more about Yellowstone National Park and its supervolcano, you can visit the park's website or the website of the National Park Service. There is also a wealth of information available online from sources like the USGS and various universities. Whether you're interested in the geology of the park or its amazing wildlife, you're sure to find something that interests you. Thank you for watching today's video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment below to stay up to date on all our future videos. And be sure to check back soon for more science experiments.